Ahoy Hoy, jessetattoo here, and today I'm going to go over a bit of tips and tricks on how to, deal with other pirates, tactics and whatnot. I asked you guys in my last video if you wanted me to do this, and it seems you did. Now, some of these are going to be based for the sloop, so the small ship versus the large ship, and some of them are going to be just generic tips in general. Now, a quick little disclaimer here before we get started. I do not pretend to know all of the tactics and do not pretend that my tactics are infallible. However, these are good, tried, true, and tested strategies that if you use... No. Ignore him. Listen to what I'm saying. My tactics will win you every single encounter in this game. So don't forget to like and subscribe because that's what winners do. Now, first off, I'm going to go over some of the advantages versus disadvantages between the sloop and the galleon. Now, the sloop has a much tighter turning radius, so it can turn quicker than the galleon, that's for sure. Also, it is a bit slower than the galleon due to the fact that it only has one sail versus 3 sails. However, you actually have a bit less drag when going against the wind. Another thing is the sloop can traverse more shallow waters and more rocky things. Due to the maneuverability, you can often outflank other ships and just get in between spaces that a larger galleon would just get stuck on and run aground. So you can use that to your advantage quite often. As I said in my previous video, you can just turn around on the sloop and just see the map right there. Cannonballs are on the top deck. Boards are only one deck below. Everything is tighter and more efficient when it comes to a sloop. Now, the galleon has 4 cannons per side, so 8, whereas the sloop only has 1 cannon per side, so 2. So right away you are very outgunned with the galleon, as well as the galleon holds a lot more supplies. It can take a lot more cannonballs and damage before it sinks. It can also take on a lot more water when it sinks, or before it sinks rather. So there's pros and cons when it comes to the smaller ship versus the larger ship. Also, it's just straight up easier to handle and maneuver as a single pirate. Quite often I've found in larger ships, a lot of the players are off doing their own things, not paying attention. It's hard to get a good, solid crew working together all the time. And when you're down at one player all by yourself, you're the only one that matters. So you can do things more efficiently and not have to rely on other players to do multiple things at once. Now, you can't outrun a galleon in a head-on race. There's just no way. But as I said, you can outmaneuver them. So head for shallow waters, head for rocky shores. A big galleon cannot turn as fast as you can. So use the e-brake system by dumping your anchor and turn around real quick and just go the other direction. It's going to take them a lot longer to maneuver that big boat around than it is your little boat. And not many galleons will try to follow you through rocky waters, believe it. One quick little tip is, I don't think everybody realizes that you already possess all of the weapons in the game. You have the cutlass, the flintlock, you have the blunderbuss already, and the sniper gun. You just need to go to either the ship or the other thing, whatever it is, the box, and just change it. You can only have 2 weapons at a time, so pick your arsenal. And speaking of arsenal, I know it's not really arsenal, but your clothes. Don't waste your money early on clothes. Spend your money on upgrading your rank within the different unions, and honestly, the less flashy you look, the less likely you look like somebody that somebody wants to attack and take all of your gear, or all of your hard-earned booty, rather. Because the likelihood of a new player having a ton of treasure on their ship is pretty low. And don't waste money on your ship. Don't make it look flashy. The less flashy you are, the less of a target you will be. At least not early in the game. As you progress in rank and pirate skills, then maybe you can start upgrading your gears to make yourself look like you match your skills. Now, as far as actually attacking a galleon, there's a couple of methods that you can use. One of the better ones is honestly, again, use your maneuverability, hit and run. Circle them, and just pick your timing really well, and just bombard them with cannons. Keep them busy, keep them repairing as much as possible, and shoot them. Whenever you don't have a good angle, use your guns, your sniper guns or something, and keep them occupied constantly. And if you can get into their blind spot just behind them off to either side, they can't attack you with their cannons, and you should be able to get just enough of if you can match the speed, you can get a spot where you can just bombard them with cannons, and they can't do much to turn fast enough to avoid this. It's actually a real pain in the butt, and one of the only ways they can either stop you is jump off, try to board you, or they could always use the anchor trick to turn around, but they're still much slower at doing so than you are, or throw explosive barrels off the back, which is also another tactic I would suggest. If they're chasing you, throw explosive TNT off the back of your boat and hope that it hits them. Also, on the TNT note, I do want to mention, if you're a big ship, don't store TNT right on the back of your ship. If another player sees that, they can shoot it with a sniper gun and cause massive damage. So hide those things kind of below deck a little bit. If I see TNT on your ship, I'm shooting it. And another fun little tactic / trick is to get yourself good and drunk on grog. Drunk enough that you're puking. And once you start vomiting, pull out your bucket and fill it with vomit. You can use this to splash in the faces of your enemy, which will blind them in PvP. It's a one-shot deal, but it blinds them. Another fun but difficult one to pull off, grab a TNT and just hop off and swim to their boat underneath it and shoot a TNT under their boat. That'll cause a lot of damage, and then you can potentially swim back out to your ship. It's risky, but it's a good payoff, as one keg does 4 holes worth of damage. Now, if you can manage to board their ship and somehow kill them, or keep them distracted, boarding up the holes that you just put in their ship, you can grab the steering wheel and send it to shore. Ground this puppy. That's one thing you can do. And keep your eyes peeled for TNT on the enemy's ship. You never know, they might have some lying around that you can use. Get down to the bottom level and protect the damage that you've caused. Don't let them repair it. As they come down to repair it, hide around the barrels and just keep blowing them away. Also, you can take 2 guns. You can opt to swap out your sword for another gun, so you can take a flintlock and a blunderbuss and just keep packing on them. And you can use, as I was saying earlier, you can use their supplies. So you can reload your gun and eat their bananas on their ship and just keep protecting that damage until it sinks. And once it does sink, if your ship is not sunk, you will teleport right back to your ship as the ship goes underwater. Not an easy one to pull off, but a surefire way to sink larger ships. Steal everything you can, though. Take all of their cannonballs, take as much of their boards and their bananas as possible. Take whatever resources you possibly can and use it to your own advantage. If you take all of their supplies, they got nothing left to fight back with except their wits. Being a smaller ship like that, there's less to travel and less to bail out for water. Everything's smaller and quicker in a sloop, so you can potentially straight up just outclass them by being quicker and more on the toes than they are. Now, if you come across a parked galleon, again, I would use the blind spot or directly behind them or directly in front of them and park sideways, and you can open fire. Even if they're on board, it's going to take them minutes to correct and steer this thing into a manner that they can start firing on you. And to be honest, you can just lift up your anchor and go. in that time that they would start maneuvering. So again, maneuverability is key with smaller ships. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I cannot stress this enough. Keep your lights off at nighttime. Run and turn all of them off. You do not want to be a glowing beacon in the distance that people can see you from miles and miles away. Be a ninja. Be stealth. Hide in rocks. Sail in dangerous waters. Do what the big ships won't, or just straight up can't. Now, I do want to make mention that not everybody in this game is hostile. However, if you shoot first, they will most likely return fire. So, at your own risk, you can test the waters. Sometimes you can type something, sometimes you can yell at them, and just, maybe don't be aggressive and see how they react, because it's not always a fight. I have come across some friendly players, but it's pretty rare. Just be on your toes all the time and understand that everyone will probably screw you over if given half a chance. So take that as you will. They are pirates after all. And if you feel that I forgot a tactic or I mistacticked a tactic or whatever, let me know in the comments below, and maybe we can revisit this and do a second tactics video. Alrighty friends, well thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please don't forget to smash that subscribe button, and maybe hit that like button too if you did so like something or learn something from my videos.